How is it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Pitchside Podcast channel and to another episode of the Pitchside Podcast. I'm your host, the HOD of the PSP. Like, share, comment on this video, subscribe to the channel, enable notifications to receive all the updates on the episodes of the podcast and other content on this channel. Listen to the podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform, and follow us on social media. I'm at PSP on Twitter, Pitchside Pod on Instagram. We will be doing some FA Cup preview, of course, for the game between Manchester United and Liverpool, but not before rounding up the news as usual. Let's kick off from Spain, of course. Real Madrid officially announced that Zinedine Zidane, the manager, has tested positive for COVID-19, of course, after coming in close contact with someone who had, COVID-19. The news was shortly revealed before the press conference that was due to take place on Friday before La Liga's game for Real Madrid against Alaves, which he won't be available for, of course, and the assistant manager is going to be taking charge for that game. From Real Madrid, moving on to some transfer business now, and to Arsenal, of course, who officially announced that Matty Ryan is going to be joining them on loan. I talked about this, of course, in a separate video yesterday, alongside the potential signing for Martin Odegaard. Matteo Hernandez wins Serie A Player of the Month for December, who of course scored 3 goals and provided 1 assist in 5 Serie A games once in the month of December. One of his goals came in the 3-2 win against Lazio, of course, later on to save 3 points for them. Of course, he received the award from Paolo Maldini, and certainly he was awarded by someone who left a mark on that left wing, the AC Milan side tweeted. The Spanish FA rejected the Barcelona appeal to overturn the match ban on Lionel Messi. Of course, he received a 2-match ban for striking Villalibre in the Super Cup final against Athletic Bilbao. The appeal has been upheld and rejected by the Spanish FA. Of course, they made the bid to have the suspension dismissed, despite the footage showing Messi lashing out Athletic Bilbao player Sevilla Libre in the final moments of that 3-2 defeat. The suspension means now that Messi will miss the second leg against 30, which he missed the third tier, the second leg against 30 Minos Cornet in the Copa del Rey, and the match against Elche in La Liga. Messi sending off at this weekend, of course, at the game against Bilbao was the first red card of his Barcelona career, and he will have to sit now 2 crucial games potentially for Barcelona. In England now, and Guardiola confirmed officially that Kevin De Bruyne is going to be missing from 4 to 6 weeks due to a hamstring injury. He said Kyle Walker had a big impact kick in his hips, but it's just a kick, so he's not available for tomorrow, but we wish for the next game. Kevin De Bruyne, however, like the doctor said after reviewing the scan, we will be for 4 to 6 weeks out, of course, and in those 6 weeks, the fixtures for City are as follows: Cheltenham in the FA Cup this week, West Brom then in the league, Sheffield United in the league, Burnley, Liverpool, Spurs, and Mönchengladbach, of course, in the Champions League, and both games against West Ham and the Manchester derby against Manchester United. Speaking of Manchester United, and Solskjaer said that he wants United to have the spirit of the '99 Champions League final when they face Liverpool in the FA Cup on Sunday. He said that of course we can transform a few things from that season. We know that there are tight moments, very fine margins. We know that season we're close to going out against Liverpool. Peter Schmeichel saved a penalty from Dennis Bergkamp in the semi-final in injury time. At those moments, I think it gave us a mental advantage, especially in the semi-final, but against Liverpool as well in that 4th round. When you get that boost of turning 1-0 down to a 2-1 win against a big team, it is massive. Of course, as well as Liverpool, Arsenal, United also knocked out Chelsea and Middlesbrough from the top flight en route to Wembley that season. So Solskjaer probably is, sort of presenting that spirit for his club to take it, on a to take it and motivate themselves with it, really, ahead of that game. Sticking with England and from Leicester City, where Jamie Vardy is going to be set to be sidelined for several weeks after undergoing a surgery on a persistent hip problem. Brendan Rodgers confirmed Vardy can't hold it off much longer. There's a lot of time in the season for him to make an impact. Jamie Vardy, of course, will have surgery and will be out for a few weeks. He said, we've been managing him over the past few months. It will help the area repair. He said, we can't hold it off for too much long, and he still have time to recover. Of course, get well soon, Jamie Vardy. Sticking with England and moving on to Liverpool, again, as Klopp showed frustration. There's not been reinforcement in January. Of course, Liverpool are currently without Van Dijk, Joe Gomez, both long-term injuries. Missing Diogo Jota managed 5 goals in 9 league games before his injury. Klopp insisted the decision to bring in new recruits before the end of the month was out of his hands. He says the decision are not mine. If somebody thinks we should do something, I cannot decide if we do something in the transfer market or not. That must be clear, he said. Klopp's side suffered another blow in their bid to retain the Premier League title with a 1-0 defeat to Burnley, of course, on the midweek, which Klopp described as a massive punch in the face. Probably something that would have happened to him if he fought Sean Dyche. And Ashley Barnes' penalty in the 83rd minute, of course, was enough to give Sean Dyche a shock victory, and the result ended Liverpool's 68-game unbeaten run. He says, it's my responsibility, it's easy explanation. We lost the game, which is pretty impossible, but we did. That is my fault. How is it possible we lose that game? But we lost it. We made it even happen. It's our fault, and that means my fault. It's always my fault when things do not work. Are my fault. We've worked together for a long time now. This sounds like a pretty frustrated kind of statement from Jurgen Klopp, considering that now Liverpool are 6 points behind United in the table, and behind City as well, with 4 points, as well as Leicester City, with the Pep Guardiola side having played a game less and could extend the gap to 7 points. This could be last season, but in reverse, this could be City and United escaping and opening a wide gap ahead of Liverpool, who are really wobbly this season. Certainly they could drop out of the top 4 if Tottenham and Everton win the games that they have in hand. And finishing off the England round with Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta urging Chelsea to stick with Frank Lampard. He said, coming from him, of course, he survived a difficult run of form earlier this season, and he turned it around against Chelsea with a 3-1 win. Certainly, he urged Chelsea to stick with Lampard. He said, I have known Frank for a few years, and I spent some time with him, and I would like the club to support him and give him a chance. Arteta, who like Lampard captained the club he now manages, he has huge experience as a player, which is good. He's an icon over there. He said that he needs time, and something we have not had in this calendar year is time to work on anything. He said Arsenal's form nosedive, of course, during November and December, and Arteta only managed to turn the tide with a win over Chelsea on December 26th on the Boxing Day, and now they're unbeaten in 6 games in all competition. He said, I can only talk about what I have experienced. It was full support in difficult times, said Arteta, whose side faces Southampton in the FA Cup 4th round on Saturday. Fortunately, he said, if they see you trying to do something, and you're going to have rewards in the future, and they're a little bit patient, most of the time it pays off. Nice words, really, from Arteta all together. Finishing off now with Italy, as Roma was handed a 3-0 defeat now against Spezia for making 6 substitutions. Now this is official. That makes the loss, doubly hurting, really. Serie A sporting judge has ruled out today that the final score of Roma's 4-2 Coppa Italia loss to Spezia has been changed to 3-0 forfeit defeat for the Giallorossi, who made 6 substitutions despite only being allowed 5. Spezia won the game against AS Roma in the last 16 of Coppa Italia, but the sporting judge cancelled the result and handed La Lupa a 3-0 defeat by default. Roma, of course, doing 6 substitutions. I don't know how this happens and how this could get through, and how the referees not keeping count of the substitutions, how nobody seems to be seeing that happening. I don't know. Whatever, really. From Roma to Torino, and Cristiano Ronaldo rejecting a €6 million per year deal to be the face of Saudi Arabian tourism. He's understood to have included Ronaldo making visits to the country and his image being used on all promotional material. Ronaldo's rival, Lionel Messi, of course, has been approached by Saudi Arabia's tourism, but his view on the proposal is not yet to be known. Both representatives of Ronaldo and Messi refused to discuss the matter when approached by the Telegraph. Earlier this week, Ronaldo became the highest scoring player in history. That's at least according to, I don't know, official records. Ask the Czech FA, really, they don't accept that. While Messi has won a record 6 World Players of the Year crowns, certainly. Saudi Arabia is aiming to become an attractive tourist hub through its Visit Saudi campaign, with the country reputation in the doldrums of its checkered human rights record, although the travel is currently limited due to the COVID-19 restrictions, and Visit Saudi adverts state that a visa must be acquired to go there. The international reach of two of the most successful players ever to play the game would have added significant clout to their campaign, but any athlete willing to strike a deal with the kingdom would face severe criticism. Saudi Arabia is using sport as a strong vehicle, really, to more generally promote itself, staging the Spanish Super Cup in Jeddah last January, sponsoring it this season, with Messi's Barcelona competing for the trophy alongside Madrid, Atletico Madrid and Valencia at that time. Barca's manager at the time, Ernesto Valverde, admitted that we are here because of the money in what was the first year of a 3-year worth £102 million deal to the Spanish Football Federation, although the event was ultimately held in Spain due to the pandemic, of course. And Messi was also in Riyadh in November 2019 to play for a friendly against Argentina, where he met Turki Al-Sheikh, the chairman of the country's General Entertainment Authority and the majority owner of Segunda División side Almeria. Good for you, Cristiano Ronaldo. I think that is the right choice when you turn that deal. Anyway, thankfully, he didn't accept it, because that would have been bad for his reputation anyway. Let's turn now into the focus, of course, of this episode, which is the FA Cup big clash ahead of us between Manchester United and Liverpool. It is Klopp versus Ole, part 2, aka the FA Cup match. Certainly this comes on the back of, some, I think, contrast in form would be the right word, I would say, because really it cannot be described else with other words, really. It's a dip in form, a contrast in form between the two sides. Liverpool are going down while Man United are going up. That is just the way you could describe this game. Certainly the last match for Liverpool and the loss against Burnley, and the whole, and the whole mood in the last month for Liverpool, really, the whole sort of frustration with the results that they have. You look at their form as of late, certainly is not something that they would be proud of and would be happy with. 2 draws, 2 losses, and 1 win in those last 5. And again, that last win was against Aston Villa in the previous round of the FA Cup, and it certainly wasn't that comfortable of a game, really, for 60 minutes, despite playing an under-23 Aston Villa side. We always need to remind people of that, just like when you need to remind them that they were playing an under-23 Liverpool side when Aston Villa beat them 5-0 the year prior. So just, it makes a lot of sense. You need to, put things in their rightful frame, I would say. So for Liverpool, they're entering this game on the back of a bad form. The loss against Burnley, not being able to score for 4 games now in the league, certainly hurts when you have the likes of Salah, Mane, Firmino, but they couldn't score. They have a problem in your side. Certainly not having a starting lineup that is stable pretty much. You're not having a fixed starting lineup doesn't help exactly with the tactics of the game, really, because it doesn't allow you to to have a proper plan that to execute it every week, and make and create some dynamism and create some mechanism in that side. Liverpool problems again have been well documented this season. Injuries, COVID cases, and they're not making moves in this transfer window. They're not making moves in January, which is even worse. Again, just mentioned the news earlier that Jurgen Klopp is frustrated with that. He certainly has the right to be frustrated. He has the right to be frustrated that there is no movement and no reinforcement in January. They need a centre-back, I think, as soon as possible, really. And what is left in the window, I don't think... I mean, probably a week is enough, really, but is it enough to find a quality centre half who you could slot in right in, like someone like Ruben Dias? I mean, looking at the closest example, probably someone like Ruben Dias in Manchester City, who came in in the very, very late days of the transfer window in the summer and just slotted into the club straight away, and he's making an impact from the get-go. You will not find someone like that, really, unfortunately. Probably, I mean, if they make a final push for someone unknown, pretty much they've been linked with a couple of centre-halves as of late. If anybody remembers, they've been linked with Issa Mendy from Real Betis in the summer, but that deal didn't come through. I don't think it's enough time again for them to make a big move on a centre-half, although they need it again. And, of course, the general performance sort of Liverpool really dipping for some players. Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't the same anymore. Roberto Firmino is not the same anymore. Mo Salah is not the same anymore. The midfield formation in particular not being stable enough. Sometimes you play with Thiago, Wijnaldum and Chamberlain, sometimes Thiago, Henderson and Milner, sometimes Henderson is dropped to a centre-half because of the vacancies there, and Thiago plays with Wijnaldum and Shaqiri. There's a whole lot of changes were made in that midfield in particular, and those changes affect the club, affect the performance. They don't give you a sense of stability, and what you need in a season like that is a sense of stability to create the consistency needed for the rest of the season. Now, turning the attention to the Man United side, and I really want to be the first person probably to apologise to the United fans. First of all, because I had your club at 4th in the league in my prediction, and I'm being proven wrong the hard way. They are being top of the table at the moment in the Premier League, and certainly having a 6-point gap over Liverpool would give them strong motivation heading into this game as well in the FA Cup. I just mentioned Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is all motivated, all hyped up for this game. He wants the spirit of '99 to be replicated, which is, I don't think exactly is, it's a bit of an exaggeration, because that '99 side is way stronger than people would ever think of that. But certainly, it's a motivation rightfully earned for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The form of his side is incredible at the moment. Yes, they lost to Man City in the Carabao Cup, among the last 5 games, but still they bounced back strong, and they had two hard-fought wins against Watford in the Cup and against Burnley in the league, and then of course drawn against United in a game that all pundits probably agreed that United should have won, and then the win against Fulham turning things around, and one of the best performances of Paul Pogba this season, of course, who decided to put his future on hold with the club until further notice, and certainly that is the right decision. And obviously, as United are going to be competing for the title this season, there is no escape from that now. United are title challengers, probably even title favourites in some way to win the Premier League. And now that Pogba has performed well now, he would look at it like, oh yeah, I want to win trophies with this side, and certainly I want to win the Premier League with Manchester United to make my reputation pretty strong. They don't have the same problems that Liverpool have. They're not exactly raided with injuries, although they miss a couple of players. Obviously, they're going to be missing a couple of players, obviously, for this clash. Rashford is in big doubt for this one. Can he make it? It's really unknown at the moment if he can make it, but aside from that, they didn't have the injury crisis that Liverpool had. They didn't have the surprisingly, since late November, I think, since early December when they were outside of the Champions League, they didn't have that inconsistency. They were the most consistent side in the Premier League alongside City. The two Manchester clubs have been the most consistent side of the Premier League. Now, how does this affect the FA Cup game? This is the big question. Who needs the win more here? Because I don't think that Klopp, values the FA Cup that much, and he's been clear about it. He doesn't value the FA Cup that much. He doesn't really rate it, let's say. He doesn't rate it as a competition that much, so in my opinion, probably he would, he would try and balance things out playing this competition, really. He's not exactly the kind of manager that looks at the FA Cup and cherishes it, although no one ever does anymore, because that competition looks like it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things unless you win it. As I mentioned, Klopp, frustrated with the performance, frustrated with no reinforcements, probably would need to care about the FA Cup, need to rate the FA Cup. I said that quite a while and quite a lot on this channel. He needs to rate the FA Cup, start caring about the FA Cup. The other competitions, yes, he done everything he needs to do now. He won a league, he won a Champions League, he won a FIFA Club World Cup, a European Super Cup. He needs now to focus on some gold, some local gold and some, English silverware at the moment. He needs to win those FA Cup and Carabao Cup trophies to increase his tally of trophies, really, to increase his trophy cabinet, to improve his reputation as well, to prove that he is an all-round manager, a manager that doesn't underestimate and that doesn't underrate competitions, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on the other side really rates this competition and certainly is a title that he wants to win, and if he is able to pull it, he will go for the double, really. It's a big game. Certainly would be a better game than the Anfield one, because it's a one-leg tie, fortunately, and thank God for that. So it's going to be surely better than anything what we watched at Anfield. For United, we will see how they're going to be playing. Is this going to be the point of the season where they just crumble surprisingly against Liverpool at the time where everybody thinks that they are favourites? And certainly I think that they have a little bit of advantage over Liverpool in this tie, but can they sustain the momentum? Can they beat Liverpool and go through? Will they prove their consistency and prove their worth as title challengers? Because again, this game affects the league in terms of giving the club momentum and giving the winning club momentum to keep going forward. For Liverpool, it is certainly time to raise up and to forget about the last month or so and just erase it, draw blank, and certainly hit the reset button against Manchester United. That's it for me. Share, comment on this episode. Of course, what you think. Subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, enable notifications to receive all the updates. Follow me on social media. I'm at PSP on Twitter, PitchSetPod on Instagram, and listen to this on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform. I was your boy, the HAD of the PSP, and until the next time, I'll see you soon.